Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your host, TB Scouting MMA, and
The Guru back again from usually sunny South Florida, but right now torrential downpour. But
jeez,
very important, we've got UFC Vegas 93 flyweight main event between Alex Perez and Tatsuro Taira, up and comer, getting a major step up here and a major jump up in terms of significance for the main event. We got a crazy, crazy card to break down here. TB's been doing double the work because I had less than half the work. You know what I'm saying? So we always give 100% collectively, if that makes any sense.
yes, yes. Guru's like, why are you texting me novels on your tape study this week? I'm like, because you're on the road. You might need some of this to refer back to, and you're like, did you do the work? You know what I mean? So, pardon the appearances, but Guru is dedicated out here, and
Not
he's
not
willing to
quite as
join us.
dedicated. Listen, not quite as dedicated as you were in Miami doing it from your hotel room. I was very, very impressed. I did
Not
not
too
do as
shabby.
good of a job.
And we had a guest that week, but it's okay. The people still love TV and the Guru. That's what everyone came here to see. So don't worry, we'll be back next week with the best guests. But listen, our presence is a present, baby. Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST, EDT, low T, whatever you want to call it. But we're always here for a good time and sometimes a long time. But I think this will be a bit of a quicker show today. Hope you guys, if you haven't already and you're into that DFS content, you need some like live odds screens, you need some best method prices out there. Check out fightnumbers.com. You can use our promo code 30% off Chronic on any of the subscriptions. And if you guys haven't done so, please throw us a like. Please comment in the chat live if you're here now. And if you're joining us afterwards and doing the replay, make sure you throw a like. Make sure you comment. Tell us what your best bets are. We will respond. We'd love to hear from you guys. And it means a lot when recommending this video to other people. So now that we beg for your interaction, let's say, what up, Bez? Hoping for a doggy line card this week. Let's go. I'm down for some dogs. Might as well, right? So let's get into it because we're starting off here. We've got Alex short notice Perez plus 164, Tatsuro in and out Taira at minus 198. Listen, man, we got a great matchup. Two TB nicknames squaring off against each other in the octagon.
I love
And
In and Out.
not bad, right? He's a cheeseburger fan, you know, and
Hamburger. I need a
hamburger.
hamburger.
I love
Hamburger.
Tatsuro.
That was
I
good.
am
Who does one?
happy. So I fucking love Tatsuro Taira so much. So maybe it's a
Me
little
too,
bit of
honestly.
like bias in the breakdown here, but I think what 3 weight cuts in about 4 months span here for Alex Perez, who's used to fighting like once every 4 years at this point. I mean, it might come back to bite him, right? So
Dude, I mean,
ultimately,
at the same time, he's taking no damage. He's taking none. Makayev fight. Makayev doesn't do any damage, so he gets
right,
right back in there. And again, we made a mistake picking Nicolau, but
right,
I felt like a lot of that is I don't know how to put it. Like you see talent on tape, you see a guy's fight style, and you're like, oh, okay, well that's kind of impressive. Okay, maybe he doesn't have great durability, but okay, that's kind of impressive. Um, but I forgot which fight it was recently, but we said the Rakic fight. That was the exact fight.
mm,
Sometimes just because somebody fights pretty doesn't mean they like being in a fight, right?
right,
And somebody like Matthias Nicolau and Alexander Rakic, right? As soon as it's not going their way, they're done. They have
yeah,
no durability, they have no wherewithal, they have no heart for that. So in that fight, which was like a close back and forth fight, until Nicolau just like completely crumbles.
right,
So for me, I don't necessarily see like, oh, Alex Perez, his striking is super improved. Like he's gonna knock him out on the feet. Like I didn't really see that. What I saw is a guy in Nicolau that's fragile and
mm,
um yeah, doesn't have that durability. But what I did see from our boy Tatsuro Taira is somebody whose striking is improving very much so to the point that he's left hook straight down the pipe, knocking out a guy in Carlos Hernandez who had only ever been finished by submission, had never been finished before. A tough young
mm,
kid cracked him straight with the shots, not with the wrestling, not with the grappling. it was the left hook, and then he pounded him out. I mean, it was vicious, and the shots were precise. I was impressed. Give me Tatsuro Taira by finish here. I think the obvious one would be submission, right? But with what I saw from Taira, I would not be surprised if he ground and pounded him.
Yeah, I think we've seen the evolution of pure grapple control, submission hunting into someone with a little bit more process. And I think the Shirez fight kind of made him adjust his takedown entries and a little bit of the process, because if a guy knows you're diving in on the single, the guillotine might be there as an option. And as good of a grappler as you are, I mean, do you want to go full Movsvar every fight and end up like ass deep in a guillotine like every time? So I appreciate that Taira has definitely refined his approach overall. He looks to be a lot more comfortable on the feet, and his overall distance striking numbers, like defensively, are really nothing to write home about. But I think Alex Perez brings those shortcomings in the accuracy department. So having the 5-inch reach here not only is going to help in the striking, but in the grappling, Taira is going to be able to get wrist control, cross body. He's going to be able to do some things that Perez is going to have a little bit of trouble with, like Makayev. Great wrestler, not a great grappler. I'm sorry. Taira, he's great at both of them. And while he can make a couple mistakes here and there, he's athletic enough and he has good enough process to stay safe ultimately on the mat. I think Perez is definitely live to get submitted here. In the same token, like you said, Guru, would I be shocked about a TKO? No. Minus 198. I'll probably look. There's going to be something here with like a Taira 1+ takedown, 4.5 minutes type of deal, I feel like, but maybe it's getting too cute. The guy's only minus 198 and it's a 5-round booking. Just take me inside the distance, right? So I like the way you're thinking there, Guru. Let's not try to get too cute. Phantom Punch, what's going on? Shout out you and everybody else in the chat right now.
Yeah, I'm not doing any sort of overs, because let's be honest, somebody like Alex Perez has been finishing round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So if he's not getting finished early, if he's not getting finished in those first 7.5 minutes, this fight could get very tricky, because we have no idea what. I mean, Tatsuro Taira, we've seen him lay on top of somebody for like a little while, but we haven't seen him face any sort of resistance yet. So there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, I'll be curious if Perez is the guy to bring that resistance. And like we talked about, he might not have taken much damage, but he is a pretty decent sized dude at 125. And this is his third weight cut in 4 months. And I can't imagine he's used to that, given that he fights once every 3 years before that. So, notice how I call him short notice when it's kind of tongue in cheek, but here he is, second short notice opponent in quick time. So, oh boy, talk about short notice opponents. We got our co-main event here.
What was the under 1.5? What was the under set in that fight?
2.5.
Yeah, I like the under 2.5 at plus money.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, come on. If we like Taira and he's the rightful favorite, then he's doing it within 3 rounds, like for sure. And Perez, I mean, what does Perez win by decision? What does he do? He's got leg kick finishes and some subs, right? Like,
he's had,
leg kick finish, triangle finish round 1. His decision win in 2019 versus Mark De La Rosa, round 1 finish Jose Torres, decision over Eric Shelton, round 2 Darce choke, round 1 Anaconda choke. He's just not winning. He's got 7 submissions and 6 knockouts. Like, he's not knocking out Taira, and I just don't see him being the one winning the grappling exchanges. So I just don't see him being a minute winner. So I do like the under.
That's a good call. I like that. At flyweight though, is it appropriate pricing?
You do make an interesting point. I think that there's some merit to it, honestly, because they have the over 2.5 at if this was a 3-round fight, how would you be capping it? Would you think it would go the distance or not? That's basically what they're saying. They're basically saying it's pick 'em to go the distance at 3 rounds, which obviously, of course, nobody thinks it's going at 4 and 5. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I think it's under.
Fair enough.
Too much on this fight. Let's go along.
Yeah. Ikram Eliskarov, the Eagle, versus Antonio Malvado Troccoli, making his undeserved UFC debut here, but he hasn't fought in how long? I mean, buck
I
all.
mean, really weird. I don't know exactly how you do this. You're supposed to fight OSP in 2022, and then UFC, nobody hears from you, and you get a contract offer randomly against Omar C in 2024, and then you pull out of that one. So they're like, oh, you know what? I'm ready a month later. Okay, here you go, Ikram Aleskarov. And what the fuck? You get a
Yeah.
debutant who doesn't belong as the co-main event to a guy in Ikram Aleskarov who 15-1, but like, of course, everybody knows the one loss to Hamza Chimaev, but I don't know. Is he really super, super duper impressive? I think that everybody's trying to poke holes in this guy. This isn't the spot. I would love to learn more about him, but you know what I would do, which is funny? I'm taking over 1.5. No tape. I don't even see. I don't even know how Tricali throws a punch, but I'm going over 1.5 because if this guy doesn't get starched in the first 5 minutes, like, why the fuck not? I feel like more often than not, fights go over 1.5 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's an interesting way to try to fade the narrative on a minus 1350 who's got 2 round 1 knockouts against Warley Alves and Phil Hawes in his first 2 fights. And Antonio Tricoli, I mean, he's got a little bit of grappling. He's got a bit of, explosive striking. He's going to have the size advantage here. He's 5 inches taller, 6-inch reach advantage. It's just he was booked to fight at 205, a few weeks ago when he pulls out against Umar C. And then he's coming in and fighting at 185 less than 1 month later. Like the UFC is like clearly trying to punish this guy. So I'm not sure I'm trying to get in front of it.
It's because he's dating Mackenzie Dern, and everybody wants to punish the guy dating Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
Like, if you're giving it to that, you deserve punishment because life is too good.
Fair enough. Yeah, ultimately, it's probably a Leskarov, and it's probably round 1, round 2. It could be even faster if the weight cut is this serious for this guy to get down. I mean, or he could be on all the roids in the world. So I guess we're going to find out, right? I don't think I'm taking a chance, really. A minus 1350. Going to need to do a deeper dig into the props, and you guys will see what ends up on the final betting sheet here. But for the love of God, like, please just don't put Ikram in a parlay at minus 1350.
I kind of like a round 2, round 3 finish, maybe, if he's going to get it done, or even a round 3 decision. I just think it takes a little bit of time.
I mean, the guy has a knockout loss on his record.
Listen, it was a round 2 retirement. Listen, if this guy comes in there and is literally just jobbing for an 18-18 country, I mean, he's just going to get knocked out in 2 minutes and try to take as little damage as possible. But yeah, really tough to know what Tricali's coming in with. Very, very tough.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been making huge improvements in camp, or he could have just been
like
enjoying Mackenzie Dern. So yeah, I mean, do I really need to bet my hard-earned money on this fight?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, probably. I'll have $5 somewhere. So next fight, we got Timothy Twilight Simi Kwamba versus Lucas Waluigi Almeida. Guy just gives me sketchy vibes. The way he's shaped and the way he moves, he's got that gangliness to him. I don't like it. He gives me Waluigi vibes. So Twilight Timmy here, I think it's probably appropriate pricing at minus 205. I mean, Almeida, what he's really got going for him is that he's a pretty decent offensive striker. And, he's got a little bit of length, but at the same time, he's given up 3 inches of reach here to Timmy, who fought up a weight class short notice in his debut against Balaji Oki and takes him to a split decision. I mean, impressive. And coming in now on like a full camp, it's like, am I giving too much credit to a guy that showed blah, blah, blah in a loss? And it's like, nah, I mean, realistically,
yeah.
He also beat, what was it, Matteo Vogel that he beats on Contenders, and he doesn't get a contract because they're pissed that they couldn't sign Matteo Vogel to the UFC. But obviously they thought enough of him to bring him in on that short notice spot. Twilight Swimmy here. I mean, he's got 3 decision wins. He's got some knockouts on his record. Like, this guy, he's solid. And I feel like Almeida here, like, I don't see him being able to match the volume over the 3 rounds here that Kwamba is going to bring. And Almeida is going to be relying on catching this guy with a shot. And I think his defense is it's very poor. And, Zell Huber pieces him up. Yeah, good job. You beat Mike Trezano, who was at like the worst possible stage of his career at that point. But then the second you had to face a real grappler in Sabatini, you were exposed as a fraud in that department. And, and you face a guy in Andre Fili that's got real striking and timing. Yeah, it's a quick one there too. So I mean, it was since December, so he probably took enough time off, but I still think Twilight Timmy here. I mean, minus 205. Am I looking to really get after it? Probably not, but there's probably some type of way to get in on him. And I think that the
I
under
think it's
two and a
round.
half.
I think it. No, I disagree.
No,
I think it's round 3 decision. I do. I think you're highlighting on the fact that Twilight Timmy is a younger guy, is an inexperienced guy. He's gritty. He's a junkyard dog. I think he's worth the minus 200, and I do expect him to win the minutes and the moments. Um, it's just I don't necessarily trust him to get a finish. And even though Almeida was just put out by Andre Fili, right? I don't know. I just feel like Andre Fili has been through those ups and downs and is a vet. So yeah, I mean, would I be shocked to see Twilight put him down, especially in a smaller cage? No, I don't really think much of Almeida at all. He's like you said, he's a great offensive striker. He doesn't have much to offer in terms of defense, though. Uh, I just don't necessarily trust Almeida's power. He seems to want to hold back to make sure he can go all 15. So I kind of like, and they're low again. These lower weight class guys, man, they're not. I don't know. I just don't see it. So I like the over.
fair enough.
Certainly
That
possible.
actually that makes sense. And he's got 3 decisions on his regional record.
I just don't see why it would be the under would be juiced. Like there's nothing here leading me to believe that an under should be juiced.
Well, Almeida has a few finished losses, so
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
it's Pat Sabatini is a sick grappler, like unbelievable grappler, right? Hits
Right.
Nico Price in the Suvlev fucking stretch, and then Andre Fili is just the champion, one up, one down, one up, one down,
Mm.
and Almeida is certainly a step down for him.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Almeida is. Yeah, I think he's in for a long night. He's probably going to get doubled up on volume, and we'll see how it goes for the poor guy. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm
We'll
down to
see.
fade the narrative a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. So moving on here, Douglas Silva, de Andrade versus Miles Chapo Johns. Man, I was having a tough time with this one this week. I'll be honest. Digging into the tape, there's clearly things that favor both guys in this matchup. And my biggest question is, what type of pace can Douglas de Andrade push here against Miles Chapo Johns? If he can make him work off the back foot, if he can hurt him to the body with the kicks, yeah, I mean, absolutely, definitely a chance that Silva can pull, that vet lesson out of his pocket here. But I gotta say, like Miles Johns, he just seems to do like enough sometimes to win, and he certainly makes it up on the athleticism edge here. I mean, his boxing combos are pretty nice inside the pocket. He does a good job with his takedowns. He's very powerful. But then you watch him, and it's like, even in a fight against Cody Gibson, where like in my memory, he like soundly dominated, he's also giving up like a crazy takedown, back take, body triangle, near rear naked choke before he just uses his athleticism to explode out of it. And like, there's a reason why this guy gasses out all the time. And yeah, great question. How did you guys tape study this? Only for, yeah, listen, I had to dig a little bit deeper, but it is what it is. This is what we love this game for. And that's why there's going to be a few spots on this card why you got to learn. And yeah, I mean,
this to me is not the spot you want to bet really on any fighter here. I just think that Douglas Silva de Andrade is he's getting long in the tooth. He hasn't been super active. You watch his last fight against Cody Stamen, and again, like we're hypocrites on one level because it's like, okay, I took a dog shot on Cody Stamen last week. But then I watched the fight, right? And I realized how shitty of a bet that was. How Cody Stamen's style doesn't work anymore at the way that they're scoring, and how honestly he's just a shell of himself. He's not athletic. He's not quick. He's not fast. There's nothing explosive or nuanced to his game at all. And Douglas Silva de Andrade, like, still, I felt kind of had his hands full with that. So unless you've got Douglas Silva de Andrade by finish, I just kind of lean Miles Johns. Miles Johns is a guy you kind of tried to fade. At least I tried to fade with Dan Argueta, and he just out wrestled and out cardioed him, and I didn't expect that. So yeah, I lean Miles Johns, but there's so many question marks. I mean, his last win, other than Cody Stamann, is who? Sergey Morozov. That dude, where is Sergey Morozov? He beat Journey Newsom in 2022, and then what? Fell off the map. What is that? So
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like he's definitely got potential to cause damage, but I mean, we've seen him really not. I don't know. Like, there's just something about Douglas that is just holding me back. I was like, oh, he's
he
gonna out
goes to
volume
war.
him.
He goes to
Yeah,
war. He'll
yeah.
go wherever the fight goes. He goes. Like
That's
he
yeah.
doesn't put his stamp on it. He's just down to go to war.
So I guess my
It's
my
close.
question
It's
is
going the
like,
distance. It's
yes,
Iggs.
that's it. It is going the distance. I like that. I think
Yes.
I'm on Chapo John's here. I think he's
Unless,
going
of
to be the
course,
better athlete at this stage.
unless Johns' chin, the Mario Bautista chin, like making a mistake, unless something like that comes into play. I mean, he gets choked out John Castaneda
Well,
round three.
yeah,
I mean,
but let me tell you,
that's a bad look.
yeah, but let me tell you, it was the
Tell me.
same exact thing that led to both finishes. Chapo
Mm.
kind of ducking and getting a gigantic knee landed to the face. Now, there's a lot more power coming from Mario Bautista, so he gets the KO finish after ground and pound. But like Castaneda hurts him with the knee, gets the guy to drop, and then like he goes and takes the back instead of going for the ground and pound. So
Mm.
it was truly the same reason he got finished in both fights. It's that with his boxing style and the way he kind of ducks into stuff.
Well, so can I
It's
ask you a
just
question?
yes, you can ask me a
Well,
question.
so I'm not. I respectfully, I need a little bit more tape. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more
Yeah.
research. How does Howard Douglas Silva de Andrade in the clinch? Like, does he love to throw knees in the clinch? Does he have good timing with that? From my memory of him, he's just more of a brawler. Like, he's not
Yeah.
sneaky like
I
that.
think it's that he actually is like solid the way he uses angles on the back foot to avoid being like pressured against the cage. And that's why his takedown defense is pretty solid. It's just I don't think Johns is actually going to go for that many takedowns unless like it's necessary. Like that's kind of what he's proven recently is that he's going to
Yeah.
save his cardio, he's going to use
And,
calf
and
kicks,
then and
and
then
he's
this
going to use
fight
his boxing.
taking place on the feet at distance is a fucking mess. Like, I'm not interested at all. Like, good
Yeah, I
luck.
feel you. It's going to be low volume, big shots, and who's landing the more damage. And I think Johns has just slightly more wrestling success to grind out a decision. I do think the fight goes the distance here. That is worth a good. I think that's probably where the money should go on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next fight we got
A sue by
Zulfikar
sub. A sue by sub. Next.
Asu Almabayev.
That-
Zulfikar versus Jose. How the fuck am I making 125 Johnson or Lobo Solitario, the lone wolf? Yeah, 16-8. He's got 4 submission losses on his record. As long as Asu Almabayev isn't eating a knee on his way in there or dying on the feet before he gets to the takedowns, this guy's going to land a takedown and eventually just find the finish. And, Jose Johnson, like, I can't imagine that his gas tank in the grappling department is going to be great making this cut down. So he's going to need a finish on the feet before it even gets there. So, yeah, Guru, you're probably right. It's Asu by sub, but like, there's probably no reason to put his money line in a parlay.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's a little sketchy, and Jose Johnson's tricky enough on the feet with the striking. He's got a ton of finishes. I mean, 8 KOs, 2 subs. Not somebody that generally sees the scorecards. But yeah, I just don't. I don't trust Jose Johnson at all. This feels very desperate move down. I mean, he just won his last fight versus Chad and Helliger. No, I mean that's technically a decent win.
Yeah.
Chad and Helliger wins his last fight as a dog. Yeah, weird, really weird. He was supposed to fight who? Lucas Rocha? Is that a Dana White Contender Series guy that still hasn't made his debut?
Maybe something
Very
like
weird.
that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, super strange. So I'm taking a Sue Almabayev here. I think they're doing something on purpose here.
Makes sense. Here's a quick question from the chat. When would one put the money line on a parlay? I feel like typically I'm trying to get like very
Here it
close to
is.
plus money with 2 lines.
Close to plus money with 2 to 3 lines, and I think the big one is is if you feel your guy can get a finish. If you think
Right.
it's if you don't, I don't care who it is. If they're minus 500, if you're like Ikram Leskarov, he's minus 1600. If you're not 1,000,000% sure he's getting a finish, you can't possibly touch him. That's fucking bananas. Because if it
Yeah.
goes a distance, Paulo Costa won on a judge's scorecard. Like if it goes the distance, you're beatski because the judges don't know what they're doing.
Right.
You have to be
Um,
sure they're getting a finish.
I have a very important thing to ask all the wonderful people in the chat here.
Like it.
Guys, please throw a like. If you haven't done so already, it literally takes you like half a second, costs you $0. You don't even have to donate to Grandma's Couch Cushions. If you did want to, that would be great, but you're allowed to make your own decisions in life. You're an adult. But the one decision I'm asking you to make, throw a like on the video, subscribe to us, make us a part of your Wednesday night routine, or at least sometime before fight night. It's a good time. We bring you good value of information, and man, I mean, like, who else doesn't want to hear the guru yelling at TB about his latest dumb nickname? So I actually feel like I've done a pretty solid job tonight, or maybe the guru is just a little low T over the whole rain situation. But
The low T rain is real, but I liked In and Out. Short notice was pretty lame, but so is
right,
Alex Perez, and I
yeah.
haven't noticed any of the other ones.
One of the other ones, we had Lucas Almeida was Waluigi. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I just let you be gay. That I was like,
Yeah,
whatever, it's fine.
fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate that. Let's move along here. Now that we've asked the people to do the right thing. Bam, bam. We got Brady Heastant versus Garrett Greener Pastures Armfield. I have a feeling before too long that Garrett will be off for Greener Pastures. Well, here's the thing, man. The fights that he's had in the UFC where he's had success. I mean, Toshiomi Kazama, I probably couldn't have success against him in the UFC, but I mean that guy's got zero defense, and Garrett's got some solid striking, right? Like I think he's a little bit of like decent at everything, but not necessarily elite anywhere. It's just when you're facing Brad Katona in the last fight, and Brad Katona is coming off that 0T no juice dealio, it's like,
That
oh
was a
man,
sketchy fight. That was a sketchy fight from my memory.
yeah. And Brad Katona comes in as like a gigantic favorite, and he just like zero volume, zero, like he lands 4 takedowns, but nothing of like real significance. So here's what I'll say is like Brady, he stand, high stand, whatever you want to call him, stand five. He's going to have a little bit of a size advantage here. I think he truly is going to have a wrestling advantage. Not the best jujitsu, but I think he's going to be able to get this guy down, and that's clearly going to be what he's going for. But yeah, as Daz says, he's made some questionable decisions on the feet at times. So yeah, he leaves a little bit to be desired. And Dana Bakary, I mean, what an absolute quit job at the end of round 3 there. I mean, so Brady could have been looking at what 1 and 2 in the UFC, if he wasn't so successful in that regard. But what I will say here is like Garrett Armfield, I think, his tendency to be okay getting in a scramble might not work out as well for him here. And I think Brady has a legitimate chance to put a wrestling clinic on. But if this is on the feet and at distance the whole time, Brady's taken some time off recently. He hasn't been in the cage for about 1 year, 2 months. So maybe he's making a little bit of improvement on the feet, but like there's nothing that I can say definitively to actually know that. So I don't really love it if he's not getting takedowns, but in a small octagon, and for a guy that lands 4 takedowns per 15 minutes, I think there's a good chance that he fights with a better game plan than Brad Katona did. So I think I'm willing to take a shot, but I do want to see a little bit of the size differential at the face-off. Just if I'm banking on a guy to be able to get a lot of control wrestling, and then Brady comes in and he's actually the smaller guy, like it's kind of like the Castaneda thing from last week. I should have been off that the second I saw Marcos was the bigger guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a mistake. Like if you're expecting someone to get control grappling and they're not clearly the bigger or just like way more technical guy, then you're obviously missing something. So I think I like Brady on that game plan, but man, it is a dog shot. So
I don't really trust the problem I have with Brady is exactly the problem that Brad Katona had. It doesn't seem to matter, right? This wrestling with control doesn't fucking matter. The strikes with Garrett and Brad Katona, right? Garrett lands 105, Brad lands 64, but Brad also gets 4 takedowns for 5 minutes. Doesn't matter. he loses the fight unanimously. So when you look at somebody like Brady, Brady's never landed more than 66 strikes in a fight, and that was the Ricky Tercios disaster piece. So
Mm.
even in the last fight versus Dana Bakary, he loses that fight. He's supposed to lose that fight. Bakary completely quits, and he's getting hit with paper shots, and the ref just stops him, and Bakery's exhausted. I don't think Bakary thought he was going to stop the fight because the punches weren't doing any actual damage. But I'm not necessarily interested in Garrett as a chalky favorite because I'm not convinced that he's fantastic or wins by any sort of wide margin or is going to finish a guy in Brady High Stand who hasn't been finished. So I like fight going the distance here. And I kind of, if anything, if it's too chalky, like I'd parlay that to the other fight going the distance we talked about before. Which one was that? Even the Miles Johns Silva de Andrade.
Yeah, I love this fight going the distance. That's a
Yeah,
great idea.
me too. So
I don't think Brady necessarily finishes the guy. Like,
and
yeah,
I like
fair
another.
enough.
I like another fight to go the distance too.
Tim, are we gonna have a fight goes the distance parlay city? We just might.
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
the one. I like this one to go the distance as
Wow.
well.
Top tier Tajir Ulanbekov versus Joshua the Fearless Van. Minus 218 for Tajir, plus 180 for Joshua. Over 2.5, minus 125. So that's a little interesting, Guru, that you're feeling the vibes on the fight goes here. And maybe it is. Joshua Van coming in here. I mean, watching what this guy looked like 2.5 years ago on the regional scene with his takedown defense and his scrambles, it left a lot to be desired. And then you watch like how many times he's fought since then and that he's fighting out of 4-ounce Fight Club. I don't know how much this guy is like drilling wrestling in the gym on a consistent basis I don't expect a much different guy in that perspective in the octagon. I think watching him get taken down and controlled, even in his last fight against Felipe I.M. Bunis, I mean, slightly disappointing, Mr. Joshua, but he does what he always does. He loses the first round early, turns it up, puts on the pace, puts on the forward pressure, and the guy gasses out. It's just, I don't think you're gassing out, Mr. Dagestan himself, top tier Tajir here. I mean, this guy, he does well to fight an extended scrappy scramble fest with high level jiu-jitsu players like Bruno Bulldog Silva, like Tim Elliott. I mean, and he's the one taking over. And what
how
do
many
you
sub
mean?
losses? What I'm saying is, how many sub losses does the Tim Elliott have?
Yeah,
And
but
he
ever since he
and he
changed
doesn't
camps
sub
and has
him, and
been
he
on
kind
his
of
recent resurgence, Tim Elliott does not
Well,
get finished.
he subbed our boy Nate Maness, who Nate decided to end that fight after getting controlled by Umar for all that time that he was gonna try to be aggressive, and it cost him. And then Cody Durden is somebody who, unless he's getting his own wrestling success, he's been choked out multiple times. So you see somebody in Josh Van who has been choked out in his third ever pro fight, but to me, unless you're taking Tajir round one, round two sub, or it's going the distance, because this somebody in Tajir who's never been finished before, he's going to be really really tough to put away. And while Josh Van does have nice hands, it's just like you've already seen him go the distance multiple times, so I'm not like super sold or anything on his finishing equity.
Yeah, I think Van, he even showed against a guy like Borjas that he was willing to use wrestling when he didn't feel comfortable like on the feet. But then when I watch him in
Not an
scrambles,
option here.
he's going for heel hooks, he's going for like leg locks and stuff. It's like that also is not going to work here against Tajir. Like if that's what he's been working on in the jiu-jitsu room and the wrestling room, like it's the wrong thing. It's the wrong thing. And Tajir, he's too good for that. I'm sorry. Like, I know this guy is easy to hate, and like, you look to try to fade him. But if Tim Elliott isn't blatantly cheating over the course of 3 rounds, it's probably a different looking fight. I mean, Tonioni has to warn him in 4 separate occasions. He lands an illegal knee as he's getting up and is still grounded. He's pulling inside the gloves. He's poking his eyes. I mean, it's everything that Tim Elliott can possibly do to cheat, he's doing. So I don't think Joshua Van is necessarily going to go to those depths. I didn't see him do it when he was getting grapple fucked his last time. So I think Tajir here, I think his striking from distance is also, I've seen it improve. Like I've watched what this guy looks like in his last few fights. And aside from having to face like an absolute psychopath in Tim Elliott, where it got a little sketchy here and there, like once again, Josh Van is a bit more like traditional. So the takedown entries are going to be there. Yeah, the body shots, the body work. Like I think if you want to be on the Van side, I don't think he's doing enough to get you a decision. I think you're banking on him finishing the guy with
That's
pressure
crazy.
and body shots.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really I mean, pick 'em fight if you don't like, or near plus 180.
What do you mean a
Yeah.
near pick him? I think Van needs a
Yeah, plus
finisher,
180.
man. Otherwise, Tajir is going to do enough on the feet, and then he's going to use his
Yeah.
wrestling and grappling. If he's not getting a sub finish, I think he's clearly just going to be winning the fight.
I think that's fair.
Shout out to everybody joining the show live. Appreciate you guys hanging tight, even without the best guest this week. Me and the Guru still bringing the heat, and we got Jimmy the Brick Flick versus Nate Mayhem Manus, friend of the channel, great guy. And truly, if it's not Jimmy Flick getting round one sub, this dude is absolutely shot here. I mean, this is not Malcolm Gordon. I mean, I was very happy to play Jimmy Flick and pick him last time against Malcolm Gordon because it was a battle between who could quit first. And
what a great
damn,
fight.
I mean, Malcolm just doesn't do enough to get him out of there. But Nate Manus, man.
And we also picked Nate Manus plus 250 or whatever versus Mateus Mendonca, like ridiculous line.
Ridiculous. We let the man know in the DMs before the fight we had his back. He appreciated 100%. It. We've interviewed 100%. Him multiple times. Appreciate.
We should have had him. We probably should have had him on again.
We haven't. Yeah, we haven't been reaching out as much on the fight or anything. We'll get there. It's all good. But I think what ultimately is most likely going to happen here, Nate's going to absolutely brutalize this guy, and it's going to be round 1, round 2 finish.
Yeah,
probably round 1.
Nate is way too dangerous on the feet. His striking is honestly legit. The problem is they've been throwing him to the fucking best grapplers in the world. I mean, and that was up at bantamweight. He's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov, and then they're like, okay, you want to move to flyweight? We'll give you Tajir. It's like, come on, man, why are you doing my boy like that? So, I think Nate's right back on track here, rolling. Should be at a finish win in 50 Gs for my dog.
Yeah, and I think he's looking at 50 Gs here. Shout out to all you guys joining us on X. If you want to hop over to YouTube, I mean, be our guest. We wouldn't hate it, but appreciate you guys. If you're on the X watching, throw a little retweet out there. Wouldn't hurt the people, you know. Let everyone know who's going live right now, breaking down this fantastic card.
Let's get it. We got a few more fights.
Josh Bushido Quinlan versus Adam Just Fugit. That's his Twitter handle. So that was his own chosen nickname. This was actually not a TB nickname.
Let's go.
However,
TB.
Top Tier Tajir was a TB nickname. Let's go. All right.
I actually like that Top Gear.
That was pretty good, right? It rhymed. It was like an alliteration. I put in good work on that one.
It would make sense if he's like a really big fan of that TV show.
Is that a show?
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't know. All right. Anyways, talking about this fight, Josh Bushido Quinlan versus Just Fugit.
I like Fugit here. I feel like they're both fucking like, I mean, Quinlan's maybe has a little bit more process on the feet, where Fugit's like a little bit more like wild and windy. But at the same time, I feel like Fugit has a significant ground advantage. And I don't know. I like Fugit's pace as well. I just feel like he's a little crazy. Quinlan is just a pussy to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I feel like giving up the reach advantage once again, probably giving up the wrestling advantage. I mean, Quinlan's chance here is round 1, round 2 knockout. If he's not finishing Fugit early, I think he's getting drowned in pace because he's not a big volume person. He's let me throw some 1-2s and try to land some stuff. And why did people think he was going to wrestle like Danny Barlow and Trey White? Like, he's not good. I mean, he's just now. What I will say is this is a step down athletically in competition. I mean, like, I don't think Fugit is like the same level of power in his hands, striker. Like, I think there's a reason the line is pretty close here, but I also think the wrong guy's probably favored. Just Fugit. We'll go for
it. No, I want Fugit at plus money here. I really it doesn't actually make any sense to me when you look at it. You look at his losses. He lost to Austin Vanderfort, who is, it was 1-0 at the time. I mean, again, solid wrestler, decent enough fighter. He loses to Kalen Hill, who was 1-0. Guy's retired now, but lost to who did he lose to? He lost to AJ Dobson and Impa Kasanganai on regionals before calling it a quits to his MMA career. Loses to fucking Michael Morales, the undefeated welterweight who is slowly and quietly climbing his way and is sneakily like the dark horse to be the champion in like 2-3 years, whatever the fuck. But you didn't hear that from me. And then okay, so he loses to Mike Malott in Canada, where he's being fed on a main card spot where, like, whatever, he got cracked and then choked out. Like, yeah, it's just not. Like, Quinlan's just not that level. He just isn't. He's not Michael Morales. He's not Mike Malott, and he's closer to Kinoshita. So, yeah,
Damn.
give me Fugit here.
Damn, that's actually mic drop moment for Guru right there. Damn.
Less is more this week, huh? I'm seeing things pretty clearly.
Damn, he's looking like crispy Carly Judice out here with his breakdowns.
Dude,
Versus
and here we go.
Gabriella
Ready? I'm gonna go right
Fernandez.
quick. Dog. You have to take the dog. Gabby Fernandez smells. She just throws big lazy strikes and walks forward. And again, I'm somebody that we've cashed on Gabby Fernandez, right? Didn't we take her in her debut as a dog type of shit? What was that one?
What do you mean? We cashed on Jasmine Jasudavicius.
That was the other way. It was the other. I'm sorry.
Gabby.
I was trying to remember. I was just pulling it up.
Yeah. And then we faded her again with Bleda, but that got real sketchy. But Bleda sucks.
And Bleda does suck. And she was Bleda was a significant favorite in that spot. So that's also why she sucked. But yeah, no, you're right. She was a favorite versus Jasmine Jasudavicius, so it made no sense. And then this chick who is like a just a general athlete, but just really young in her MMA career, goes to a split decision where it was just a back and forth beating with her and what's that girl's name? Ernesta.
The carrot cake.
What I don't care what anybody says. The output displayed from both girls in that fight was elite level. And if they never touch that again, it is what it is. But the way that they continued to just throw strikes was just bananas. So you have to take a shot on her as a dog here, especially when I don't necessarily think that Gabby's going to just be like actively grappling a fuck ton or something. So yeah, no, give me the dog shot. And the line's gotten so much closer, right? Wasn't she like plus 200 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah,
all right.
Line's escaped, but give me the dog.
Fair enough, Skeeta. All right.
I guess you agree, huh?
Yeah. I'll let you ride with that one. I feel you, Doug. I feel you. Because honestly, I thought, oh, Gabby's going to be the bigger fighter. She's going to be the more explosive athlete. It's actually like Carly's a lifelong athlete. She was a softball player, like started doing like training, and like obviously someone took her under her wing, and like she's not that bad. You know what I mean? And like Gabby,
dog money, dude.
Wild
honestly,
power.
All we have to talk about is what was Tomar from last week. It doesn't matter if you're in the fight throwing strikes. These girls don't do fucking damage to each other. So if you are physically alive when the judges are there, you have a goddamn chance.
Love it. All right. Next fight.
Jekka
Sergi. His nickname on Tapology, when I translated it, came out to the Death Kick. That was pretty sick. Versus Weston WTF Wilson. When I typed in Weston Wilson, Google was like, WTF, mate. So I was like, okay, sounds good. What WTF Wilson, WTF are you doing in the UFC? Poor guy. He's had to face the likes of Joe Anderson Brito on short notice. Oh, that didn't work out so well. Let's bring in like the closest equivalent we have in Gene Silva. And then now they're like, all right, we're going to bring in, what is this? Philippine? Is it Philippine? Is it like
Indonesian
version of the first, like this
people
John Silva and
Joe
Anderson Brito, but Indonesian. So
I don't know what it is. Everybody loves Jekka. I love Jekka. Maybe it was the Jubilee fight where like he just had the good story coming into that, and it's just like he fought really hard, and then Jubilee finished him because fuck you, Jubilee. But yeah, Jekka's just the man. He's fucking crazy. He has no regard for his own safety, and I don't know Weston. What does Weston Wilson have to offer at all?
sketchy sub. If you need to hedge out on the Jekka round one
No,
KO, then you bet Weston Wilson by submission at
that's
plus
actually
whatever.
probably fun. I'm gonna do that just for
Yeah.
25 cents, just
Yeah,
to laugh.
exactly. Because like I mean, honestly, so if you were gonna make a parlay this week, it has to be like Nate Maness inside the distance, Jekka Saragi inside the distance, and Ikram Aleskarov inside the distance. Like you gotta make them inside the distance to get enough
And
value on it,
Tatsuro
right?
Taira inside the distance. Let's go.
You don't probably need to parlay that though.
Yes, you
All right.
do.
All right, no, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Josephine Thunder Knudsen versus Julia the Dragon Palastri. Um, Ultimately, I feel like Palastri, she is pretty solid all around. There's just something about Josephine Knudsen that like she does just enough to win these fights unspectacularly. So, and if she's doing this against low level competition, where like she's smart to not get into like dumb firefights looking for a finish, like I think she's just going to win another boring decision here. I don't see why not. Right? Like she's
I do.
gonna what?
Fuck
Why?
Knudsen. Fuck her. No way.
Why?
Because she smells. It's all she needs to stay at range the entire time. It has to be a kickboxing fight. She
No,
just
she can
fought more.
clinch.
Bro, come on. She gets
She's
controlled
got
against the. She gets controlled against the cage. I don't trust her grappling defense. If if Pilastri mixes it up, I think it's going to be interesting, dude. Think about who she fought. She fought Marnik Man, who doesn't belong. She's a 105er, and she fought that girl Isis Verbeek, like the fucking all the plastic surgery one.
yeah.
Like, dude, what has she done? She hasn't done anything yet. Nothing. Nothing.
Well,
Nothing. Nothing.
she gets 10 minutes of fence control in her last fight.
Marnik
She gets
Man. Marnik Man. She's a 105er. You're not even finishing. You're not doing damage. You're doing nothing. What have you done to be a minus 225
Marnik
favorite?
Man is a survivor.
Dude, no, she's not. She got kicked in the liver by Bruno Brazil. Dude, no. No, 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 no. It's a dog shot or nothing at all. No chance.
I get it. I mean, I'm not playing Knudsen at minus 192. It's just she's gonna win probably
No.
another one of those boring decisions. Like I feel like Pilastri, she's gonna want a fight at distance or a fight on the mat. Like those are the places where she'll be most successful.
Dude, no.
And I think
I
that
don't.
Knudsen is going to be able to probably win from distance, given her height and reach advantage. And she's a pretty nice kickboxer. But then when she needs to, she won't take it to the mat. She'll take it to the clinch and stay
Women's
safe.
MMA, this girl's going to do no damage, dog or pass. That's my
Fair enough.
technical breakdown.
Fair enough. I will take Knudsen by decision for the official pick.
And I'm going to go Palestri by decision.
Melchizio Costa Milk Coffee minus 198 versus Shayla Nerdenbecka Wolverine plus 164.
What a crazy fight.
It's pretty horrible. I mean, these are Steve Garcia's children. They both got finished in the beginning of round 2 by Steve Garcia after having extended wrestling success in round 1.
In their last fights.
Yeah, in their last fight. So Mel Costa here, I feel like ways that he would have success in this matchup would be distance striking with his kicks to the body. Shaylan, while he can get hurt up top, you're not finishing him necessarily unless you're killing him to the body, is what I've noticed. But Costa does throw some nice teep kicks and stuff like that to the body, so maybe he's got a little bit of a path for a finish there.
You got to take if you're taking Costa by finish, it's by sub. The dude Nerdenbike has 6 submission losses.
Yeah, but ultimately, I feel like from what I've seen at the UFC level is like, I think Nerdenbeck is actually the more dangerous striker on the feet with the hands.
That's fair. Mm-hmm.
And I think he's also got a path to top control wrestling against a guy that is like, he'll try to scramble and stuff, but he'll also like eat ground and pound and eventually not want to be there so much. Like I don't know. I don't think Costa is necessarily like deserving per se of a minus 198 here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a little dog shot.
I think the fight goes the distance again. Like
probably, probably that's a good one.
I think both guys are durable enough. I don't think guys do that. I just don't think they do that much.
Well,
like they lack defense, but they also, again, both just got finished by knockout. So I see them being both a little bit more
I
tentative.
don't. Shailan's been finished like 9 different times, and that hasn't changed his approach. So
But at the
I don't
same
know.
time, before finishing Derek Minner, who's a fraud, actually that was the fraud Derek Minner fight. That was the one that got what's his face flagged, James Krause, and then he gets uppercutted to the body by Steve Garcia, who's insane on the feet. Decision T.J. Brown, decision Sean Soriano, decision Josh Cooleybow. Like he's got
He's
plenty
landed
of.
knockdowns in his last 3 fights, though. It's just those guys have been really good grapplers to survive there. I've seen Costa finish by knockout.
So then maybe it's a dog shot only. Then maybe it's a dog shot on Nerdenbeck. If
That's
you
kind
like
of
him
what
by
yeah,
knockout.
I didn't necessarily love Fight Goes because I've watched Shailon get hurt to the body. I've watched Mo Costa. I mean,
Well,
like
so why don't we
Austin
go?
Lingo.
Well, so then go the other way. Then go fight doesn't go the distance. You don't even have to pick a side. So just pick violence if that's how you feel.
Well, then I feel like Shailon can win a decision or a knockout, whereas
Then it's a full pass in this card. This fight is AIDS.
it probably is, but I'm gonna take like a little shot on Shailon. So, thank you
Wait, what?
guys.
That's where you ended up? You ended up on Shylon?
I literally just said I was taking a dog shot, and that's how we continue this conversation. Not listening as per usual, but it's all good.
Well,
He's got the fan in the background.
so you expect him to land more at range or control the grappling?
I think he's
Which
going
one?
to land a lot more damage at range. Well, like at
Okay.
least in box, I think he's going to close the distance, land boxing, and heavier, way heavier strikes. And
If that's happening, is Melky not shooting takedowns and grappling and getting on top of him?
Melky, he's not wrestling Shailon. Are you kidding me?
I mean, he's with the jiu-jitsu, no?
Since when does jiu-jitsu equal take? I mean, you saw how deep he got on that single leg versus Tonyoni after he was knocked out, right? Maybe.
That was true. That's what I'm saying. He's willing to grapple,
Are you
and
kidding?
then
You just listened to that and you didn't notice what I was saying?
yeah, I get it. You're making a joke, but I feel like you're also forgetting the fact that he went 3 for 8 on takedowns versus Austin Lingo for 3 minutes of control. And Austin Lingo is somebody who's got
Wait. You're telling me he
tough.
landed 3 takedowns versus Austin Lingo, but couldn't hold him down for more than 3 minutes? Yeah, that's all I need to hear. He
Well, I
doesn't have
mean,
actual control or real wrestling. Like Shailon's he's gonna be able to get now, and I think both of them don't necessarily have the best gas. Both of them, but I've seen Shailon like use his top control wrestling for a decision. I've
I
seen
think
him
to your,
knock down
I
3
don't, I
opponents
don't
in a
know where
row
I'm
from
going. I
distance.
don't know where I'm going yet, but I think to your point, Melky doesn't necessarily deserve this line.
Nah, and listen, I mean, keep it small. Keep most everything that you're doing on this card small. It doesn't
Just,
deserve.
just, just like your wiener.
Exactly. So consider that live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. ish this week, a little later, but we cut down the show time for you guys. So still finishing a little earlier than the normal time. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We had a great time. Guru's cats were not here today. He's in the Floridia. So hope he's having a good time, but sucky weather this week. Feel bad. But he's still powered through. He made it to Wednesday. Had a great time on the show. Said we'd be super quick. Still ended up breaking down the hell out of this card. So thanks, guys, for joining us. Make sure you leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed already, come on. That's messed up. You can subscribe now, though. That would fix everything. And throw a like. But Guru, why don't you go ahead and take us away?
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate everybody who does each and every week. And hey, if even if it's your first time, I just appreciate you listening. Great card. Can't wait to check it out. It's on late, like 7 p.m. Next week, we got fucking, where are we going? We're going to Saudi Arabia for the first card. And honestly, guys, start treating this one like the pay-per-view because UFC 303, McGregor's, I doubt he's fucking fighting. Like that's about to be a complete disaster. So, can't wait to see what unfolds, but make sure you tune in with us each and every Wednesday to find out exactly what unfolds. Make sure you're following my unbelievable co-host, TB Scouting MMA. Without him, none of this would be possible. Make sure you're following him on Twitter, Verdict, Picket, Instagram, BetMMA, and Instagram. If you're following me, the Guru, honestly, I was horrible on BetMMA last week. Complete reverse sweep. Probably the worst capper publicly at the moment. But if you felt like following me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Picket, Verdict, Tapology. And if you feel like having a laugh, check me out on BetMMA. We will see you next week for Saudi Arabia. Take care.